Hey YouTube, I'm back. Of course, I am back because one of the best shows on television, one of my favorite TV shows on the OWN network, is back. The Haves and the Have-Nots. Last night was the season premiere, season 5, episode 1, titled Afraid of the Flames. Okay. What's my grade on this week's episode? It was pretty good for like a premiere episode. A lot of things happen. I'm glad the storyline is going a little bit faster because I feel like all Tyler Perry fans have the same complaint, is that the stories go too slow sometimes. So I'm really happy he's picking it up. But anyways, let me pick it up. Okay, so let's jump right in. So it starts off with Jeffrey in jail. Now remember, his mother sold him out in court and said that he was the one that killed Quincy, and because he wouldn't come home and play like this little fake fantasy life with Melissa and her baby, well, his baby too. She also ratted out Justin, the DL police officer, to the judge, which is his wife. So all that crazy stuff went down. So now he is in jail, sitting in the cell, just chilling. All of a sudden, a police officer comes up to the cell and asks for Jeffrey Harrington. So of course we look, and it's Justin, the DL police officer. So Justin, I don't even really know if I can call him down low anymore after that video being released. But anywho, so Justin comes and gets Jeffrey out of the cell. He's acting as if he doesn't know him. Okay, well, at this point, we already know, like, if Justin is taking Jeffrey into, like, a private room, like, it ain't about to be because they talk, because Justin is always, like, a dog in heat. Oh my gosh, like, he won't like just stay away, like, just calm down, like, can we just talk for a second? Anyways, that was Jeffrey's whole feeling when Justin got him into the room. And like, Jeffrey is stressed out, like, dude, I'm in jail, like, I don't have time for this. And Justin is like, no, it's gonna be okay. And Jeffrey's like, isn't there cameras in here? And Justin was like, yeah, but I don't care. He was like, yeah, right, since when? He was like, since I disconnected the cameras. And then he's like, okay, whatever. He was like, you need to go and talk to your wife. Okay, while he's doing all this, Justin is like, I don't care about her. Okay, I already know that's gonna be a problem, and that's gonna be a problem that I deal with when I get home. In the meantime, I'm dealing with my man, and like, is touching all over him and everything. And Jeffrey was like, dude, like, I'm not your man. He's like, yes you are. You think I'm gonna risk all this and do all this crazy stuff and you're not gonna be my man? Okay, and then he was like, yeah, but I gotta talk to my mother. I can't believe my mother would do this and put us in this situation. And Justin was like, don't worry about it. We got that witch. Okay, y'all know he didn't say witch, but whatever. And then so he was like, what do you mean? Like, what did you do? Did you do something? Like, did you kill her? He was like, look, we can't have this conversation here. He was like, dude, I thought you said there wasn't no cameras. And he's like, no, I can't talk about it here. And actually, the DA sets up a lot of people in here, so you shouldn't talk about it to anyone else because it could be a setup. So you need to just chill out. We'll talk about it at a different time. I will get you out of here. Okay, whatever. Jeffrey, he doesn't really, like, have much that he's working with. Justin tells him, look, you need me. You don't have nobody else, so cooperate, okay? So Jeffrey cooperates. Okay, so now we jump to Hannah, Catherine, and Benny. So they have walked into what is now Hannah's house. This used to be Catherine's house, but Catherine gave her new house to Hannah because she's moving into her father's house. Okay, so of course, Catherine is still attempting to console Hannah. Hannah is going through a lot because, she lost her grandson, and she wasn't able to have the funeral because Candace snapped on her, and Candace went off on her and told her she wished she was dead, all this stuff. So it's a lot to deal with. Well, Catherine tells Hannah, I'm going to give you the same advice that you gave me. Pray for waves of grief and how to deal with this. And you know what? It sounded impossible at the time, but I did that and it worked. Okay, so Hannah's like, that's really good advice. So the fact that Catherine has given Hannah this new house, she's like, Hannah's like, I don't even know, like, what to do, what to say. Like, I'm living in a house that I don't even have to pay for, and I don't ever know how I can repay you. And so Catherine is like, well, you can repay me. You can come work for me at my new house. And Hannah's like, girl, our family's been through way too much. I'm not coming back to, like, rework for you. So Catherine is like, okay, well, you don't have to work for me, but you can just come. I have a new maid and she doesn't really know what she's doing. If you want to come and show her the ropes. And Hannah's like, I don't know, I'd think about it. Of course, towards the end of the conversation, she ends up telling her that, like, she will come and she'll stop by and help out the maid. She ain't staying there for a long time, but she's going to teach her how Catherine likes things done. Okay, so then Mitch arrives at the door, really to give his condolences to Hannah once again, and then to have a conversation with Benny. So, before it goes to the scene with Benny and Mitch, Catherine gets a phone call, and it is a guy by the name of Broderick, which is hotel manager. Apparently, Catherine's family owns a hotel, and Jim is trying to check into this hotel, but his card is declining. Of course, what's her face? Catherine has declined all of his cards. He doesn't have any money, and this is just like hilarious to her. So she's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to come down there and see him beg. I'll be down there shortly. Okay, so whatever the case, it goes away from that scene, and she's about to be headed down to the hotel. Meanwhile, we go into the kitchen of Hannah's new house, and there we have Benny and we have Mitch. And at this point, Benny is explaining to Mitch that Catherine Cryer gave his mother this house. And so Mitch is like, dude, are you serious? And he's like, yes. So now I really have to, get business into play. I really want to buy this new tow truck because I'm gonna have to buy her own spot. And he's like, dude, didn't you just say that the lady gave your mother this house? He's like, yes, but they are evil people, okay? This is the same woman that covered up the crime that her son committed because he killed the little girl and he ran me over. He was a drunk driver. If she covered that up, the moment she gets mad, she'll take this house back. So we can't be depending on handouts from somebody else or for somebody else to be holding something over our head. We already been through that with Candace. I'm gonna earn this the legit way. Okay, well, partly legit, because Benny has a bright idea for Mitch to go to the Malones, Mitch's crazy mob family, go to his grandma and his uncle so that they can get a loan from them so that he can buy this truck for $4,600, this tow truck, so they can start up their business again. Okay, so at this point, Mitch is like, no, that's not a good idea. The interest on that is going to be ridiculous. If you don't pull through on your deal with them, like, your family won't be involved, but you'll lose a limb, you'll lose all of your property. They will literally torture you, and they will destroy you bit by bit. And in that, they're meaning body parts. And that is a lot for your mother to deal with. Are you willing to take that risk? And Benny is like, look, I have no choice because I got to do what I got to do to take care of my family. Excuse me. So he's like, okay, well, if you sure that's what you want to do, I don't really want to do this, but look, I got your back 110%. So I will talk to my grandma and to my uncle and see if we can get something worked out. Cool. I don't see this going well, but we shall see. Okay, so now it goes to Candace. So Candace is entering into a hotel room with a random white guy. He looks like a businessman, and clearly she's trying to pull off a transaction. So we know in her past life, which wasn't too long ago, she was an ex-escort. That's how she ran into Jim Cryer. Well, now this is a new guy, similar to a Jim Cryer, not as powerful. He asked her, what is it going to cost me? Then she says, well, let me see your wallet. He's like, are you crazy? Just tell me how much it's going to cost me. She said, let me see your wallet. So she gets the wallet. She's like, $1,800. He was like, yeah, that's more than enough. And she's like, you think that you're only going to spend $1,800 to be with all of this? And he's like, yeah, I wouldn't spend any more than that. And she was like, okay, that's enough. Get out. And he's like, excuse me? She's like, get out. He was like, no, I'm getting my money's worth. Like, I'm about to get my product that I paid for. She was like, I'm not having sex with you, okay? You're lucky that I'm letting you get out with just $1,800 and I'm not trying to get more. He's like, oh my gosh, you're just nothing but a whore. She was like, yeah, like, duh. Like, what do you think we was about to do? She was like, you've been robbed. You can leave. Go on before I make a big deal out of this. And he's like, oh no, you're going to regret this. You're going to pay. She said, look, look, I see the tan line on your finger, and by the looks of it, you're a businessman and you're married and you've worked hard to get to where you are in your career, especially if you just have $1,800 in your wallet. So with that being said, you have too much to lose. So you're going to cooperate and you're going to walk out of the room, and you're going to count it a blessing that I'm not trying to squeeze more out of you. So go get out. And then he's like, are you crazy? And starts calling her all kinds of names while he takes her advice and exits the room. So as he's exiting, Benny is entering the room, and Benny is like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have to do this. And then he was like, I see you're turning tricks. She was like, yeah, that's my job. And he's like, he was like, you know what? You don't have to do this. I'm going to take care of us. She's like, you know what? You don't have to judge me. He was like, look, I know that you're grieving. I know that you're going through a lot. Look, I'm getting back on my feet. I'm going to start up this new business, and I got us covered. I'm going to take care of you, me, and mommy. Like, all of us are like grieving and struggling with the loss of little Q right now. And you know what? She has a new house, and her house has 4 rooms in it. And you're more than welcome to come and live with us. I don't know why he said that, because he knows good and well she is not going to do that. And then he was like, look, you have to get past this. You don't have to turn tricks. She was like, you're going to have to leave, because my next John is about to come in here in a minute. And if it makes you feel any better, I'm not having sex with these people, okay? I'm robbing them. He was like, okay, well, that's worse. And she's like, look, I'm getting even with everyone, with my mother, with Jim Cryer, with David Harrington, and like keeps on naming off people. And he's like, you don't have to do this. You know what? You're the one that started this. You're the reason why everybody is in this situation. So you shouldn't be getting even with people. She was like, I am, and you're going to leave. He said, when you get past this anger, your family is going to be right here waiting for you. She said, my family was cremated. My family is dead. And then he was like, yeah, but we're your family too, okay? So don't lose sight of that. And we're going to be here for you. And I'm going to get this business started. And I'm going to take care of you, even if we have to struggle. And I'm thinking, you know, Candace isn't the type to struggle. But, you know, like that was good thinking. I mean, you're trying to be optimistic. And so she's like, you know what? Keep dreaming, Benny. Just keep dreaming. Okay. So he gets mad and he leaves, because he's not going to convince her otherwise. Okay. So then the scene jumps to Jim Cryer. Jim Cryer is at the front desk of the hotel that he thinks that he owns with Catherine and her family. Apparently, we find out later on that he is no longer an owner. But he's complaining to the people like something must be wrong with their machine. His car definitely has to work. They need to run it again. And they're like, dude, we ran it 4 times. It doesn't work. So then Broderick, the hotel manager that Catherine seemed to be flirting with on the phone earlier, he comes out with a smirk on his face. Like, sir, look, your card is declined. I don't know. There's nothing we can do for you. And Jim is looking at him like, dude, you know me. You know that my family owns this hotel. And Catherine appears right behind him, perfect timing, and was like, no, you are no longer an owner of this hotel. And he's like, Catherine, look, why can't I get a room? My cards aren't working. She's like, yeah, I'm more than aware. Like, this is actually quite funny. And she's like, can you give us a moment, Broderick? And like giving him like little like sexy puppy eyes and all that. Like, they got a history with each other. So anyways, she's like basically taunting him about the fact that like he doesn't have any money. He needs her. They're going through a divorce, and he's like, you're gonna have to quit all of this nonsense, this messiness. We need each other. She said, no, I'm almost done. We're almost at the finish line. That'll be the divorce. And then he's like, what am I supposed to do for money at this point? She's like, I don't know, go turn a few tricks or something. Like, she is loving this. He's like, look, we need each other. We have like spousal protection or something right now that like, if I don't have to testify against you if the crimes that you've committed are brought to light. And she's like, I don't care. You can testify against me. I don't care. And he's like, come on, Catherine. She's like, you know what? Whatever. I don't want anything to do with you. Okay, whatever. So she's like, if you can just sign the papers, we can move on. Sign the divorce papers. He's like, I'll never do that. Just get me a room. Tell Broderick to get me a room. And she's like, what's Wyatt's address? He said, I'm not telling you unless you get me a room. She said, you won't tell me. I'm not getting you a room. I'm not doing anything for you. And she wasn't going to get him a room regardless. So that scene is over. Okay, so then all of a sudden we see Oscar, also known as Brian, sitting in a hotel room, and he is looking at video surveillance of an ATM where Quita Maxwell is using Wyatt Cryer's card. Remember, he's working for Jim, and like, he doesn't know who Quita is at this point, but he does see that the police catch her and they all come and arrest her. So I'm sure that'll be information for us to remember in future episodes. Okay, so then it jumps to Wyatt and Ana. So remember from last season, Wyatt and Ana were going for a walk through the park, and Wyatt kind of freaks out and he's ready to go when he sees a priest. Okay, so we all know from Wyatt's history that he was like molested by a priest, and that is what got him into like using drugs to begin with. To my knowledge, Jim killed those priests. Well, apparently he gets back to the apartment with Ana, the counselor, and she notices that something triggered him, which is why he wanted to leave the park, and she can tell that he wants to use in this moment. So she's like, what happened? He's saying nothing, and she's like, you're safe, you can talk to me, what happened? And he was like, nothing, I just saw him. She's like, saw who? And he said something like Father Kenner or something like that. And then she's like, who is he? And then she was like, he's one of the priests that used to take me down into the basement, and they would touch me and they wouldn't stop, and I didn't want them to, and I told them no. And he's like starting to cry and he's freaking out, and she's understanding and she's trying to calm him down. At the same time, she's getting emotional, and she's not supposed to as a counselor, but clearly this hits close to home. And she's like, you're in a safe place now. He was like, I thought they were all dead. I thought they were, and he's still alive. And she's like, calm down, it's gonna be okay. She was like, this is making you want to use. He said, yes. She said, but you can't use because that would be giving them power. That would be giving them control over you. We have to get past this. And he's like, why are you crying? She's like, nothing. And he's like, what, did a similar thing happen to you? And then she said, yeah, the same thing happened to me, but it was with my aunt. So he was like, so what, do you want to use? And she's like, no, we're not using, we are dealing. We're dealing with the situation. So of course he leans in to kiss her. I knew it was only a matter of time. Like, I knew it. She's like, no, this is not the way, we can't do this. And he's persistent, and I mean, she really ain't trying to like stop him, because they've been having this chemistry. So of course they start kissing, things get hot and heavy, and the scene had to blacken out, because of course this is TV, okay? This is not like Stars or Showtime or HBO, okay? So they got down and dirty, and that was that. So next thing you know, we get to David and Erica. So David and Erica pull up to this huge house. They walk inside. There's no furniture inside. She's like, wow, this is beautiful. And he's like, yeah, this is my house that I purchased after Veronica burnt our house down. I was going to bring her here with me. Stupid. But whatever. I was going to bring her here with me, but I never got a chance to. And I've been living in a condo, but I didn't want to live here because this is a really big place for a single man. And then I had it on the market, but I ended up taking it off the market. And she's like, well, I'm sure you won't be single for long. I mean, you have a lot going for you. And he was like, well, actually, I was hoping you could move in here with me. And she was like, oh, no, I couldn't do that. He was like, no, I would feel more comfortable if you moved in here with me. And she was like, well, I don't have any clothes. He was like, take my credit card, go get a whole new wardrobe. Oh, David, I couldn't. And he was like, you can, and you should. And so she's all excited, of course. But, she's used to having marks and getting money from people, a lifestyle. But you never know how this is going to turn out with her and David, because at this point he is all that she has. So she disappears into the house, and next thing you know, we see Jim Cryer knocking on the door. So Jim Cryer knows where he lives, but David what's her face? Nobody, I guess Veronica or nobody else knows where David lives. Oh, David also told Erica that it was a safe place because no one else knew how to get there, and he wants the name of her ex-boyfriend that supposedly beat her up, which we know is Candace, but of course she won't give him that information. Anywho, so when Jim walks in, Jim wants he arrives at the new house and he wants to borrow David's credit card. He also realizes that there must be a woman there, David's new girlfriend, so he wants to meet her. David is like, no, you can't meet her. I'm busy right now. I can't give you my credit card. And then he was like, look, we have to discuss business. And I need a room at the hotel because all this crazy stuff happened with Catherine. And he's like, what do you mean discuss business? He's like Mama Rose. Like, have you talked to her? And he's like, no, I haven't talked to her. And Jim was like, dang it, she won't answer my calls either. He's like, this is not. So David said, this is not good. Well, look, I think I'm going to try to get through to her through Hannah's son, which is Benny. And because I realized that Benny and Mitch are real tight, so maybe I can get through to her that way. Mitch is her grandson. So Jim is connecting the dots, and Jim is saying, look, Hannah is staying in one of Catherine's houses right now, which is funny because she gave her maid a house, but her husband has nothing. But I'll go work out a deal with Hannah and we can get this figured out. So David is like, cool, you're going to have to go because I'm busy right now. I'm not showing you my girlfriend or the house, but I will call the hotel for you. Give them my card number and they will put a room in my name and you can stay in there. And so Jim is like, why can't you give me your card? He was like, well, it's occupied right now. He said, oh, you gave your card to her. Oh, you must really like her. He's like, dude, get out. Okay, so Jim leaves. So the next thing you know, last but not least, I did not think we were going to see the Ice Queen this episode, but of course, we see the burning car flipped upside down on the road, and we see somebody like shimmying their way out of the car. Of course, this person is Melissa. Melissa is loving this moment because she gets out of the car, but Veronica is still stuck in the car. Veronica needs help, and she's screaming for help and asking Melissa to help her, and Melissa's like, no, I'm gonna sit there and watch you suffer like you sat there and watched me suffer. And she's like, I'm gonna watch you die just like I was dying slowly when you were forcing me to live a life that I didn't want to live, and you killed my father basically because you stopped paying for his treatments. And it's just so much that she's happy about in this moment to be getting back at Veronica. And Veronica is like, oh my gosh, you have to help me. I smell gas. I smell smoke. And she's like, nope, I'm about to just sit here and watch. This is pure entertainment. So, I don't know. What do y'all think? Do y'all think Veronica is going to die? Like, they can't get rid of the Ice Queen. Like, as much as, like, we don't like her, we love her because, like, she helps make this show. Like, there's no villain better than Veronica. Like, not even Mama Rose and her whole mafia. So, you know, we'll see. However this works out, I'm excited. As usual, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out at mrsblogaholic.com. I've been doing a writing journey, so I have a lot of good stuff on there. And check out my other YouTube page, The Perspective. Anywho, as always, bye.